Hi everyone, and welcome to
Podcast.
and Sanggar Bita Batam podcast. I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Emily.
So today, wait a minute. Why are we speaking English?
I don't know, maybe only a week. I'm also speaking English. Oh my god. Okay, let us go back to Indonesia. Just kidding.
Just kidding. So, teman-teman pasti penasaran, kenapa tadi kita pakai bahasa Inggris?
Nah, apa ya kira-kira? Mungkin teman-teman tahu jawabannya. Ya nggak, Jess?
Iya dong.
Apa? Yap, that's right. Hari ini kita kedatangan tamu sangat spesial yang berasal dari USA. Nah, kok bisa sih tiba-tiba ada orang asing datang ke Indonesia, ke Batam, terus tiba-tiba hadir di podcast ini? Emang kita bakal bahas apa ya? Bakal bahas apa? Mari kenapa kita nggak langsung saja kita undang Uncle Matt. Let's welcome Matt. Welcome Uncle. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Is this your first time in Batam?
Yes, first time in Batam. It's a very interesting island. Very much enjoyed my time here.
Where have you traveled around here before?
I've been to Indonesia 7 times.
7 times?
And we have visited 8 different islands. So I always enjoy coming back to Indonesia to visit. It's a wonderful country.
Which places have you visited, Uncle?
We have been to Rencha Island, Flores Island, Lombok. We've been to Bali. We've been to Java, Kalimantan, and now Sumatra.
I see. That's a lot of journey and experience must be. So, is there any culture shock when you first arrived in Batam?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not after coming to Indonesia so many times. But the people are always friendly and warm, and I always enjoy coming to visit.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good thing then. Oh my god. So, Uncle, before we go deeper into the conversation, maybe could you introduce yourself for the audience and especially for the one who are watching this podcast right here, right now? They must be very interested in you right now.
Well, my name is Matthew. Howard is my formal name, my Christian name, and I am Native American. Part of my heritage is Native American. Mm-hmm. My background or my tribe is I'm connected to the Cherokee.
Cherokee?
And also the Tuscarora.
Oh.
Now, I do not speak for the Cherokee tribe or the Tuscarora tribe. I only speak for myself. Oh. But that's where my heritage comes from and how I'm connected. When the European ancestors came to America about 250 years ago, eventually they would meet and they would marry some Cherokee and Tuscarora women who would then have children, and eventually I would come along as part of their family. So that's basically how I became part Native American, and I'm very proud of all my heritage, whether it be European, whether it be Native American. All of those things make me who I am today.
Wow, that is very beautiful, Uncle. So maybe what is Cherokee tribe again?
The Cherokee is a group of people that traditionally lived in the southeastern part of the United States. They're still one of the largest tribes today, with over 350,000 people as part of that tribe. There are also 7 different smaller clans of the tribe, of which I'm part of what we call the Anawodi.
Anawodi.
It's called the Red Paint Clan. So as far as the Cherokee, they once controlled an area in the United States that encompasses about 6 different states. So a very large area, and they were very powerful people.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of history.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what is your career right now?
My career, I work full-time, actually doing policey work for a contractor at the U.S. government in one of the facilities. And my passion is archaeology.
Archaeology.
And I do it on my time, I wouldn't call it a hobby. It's more of a passion.
Passion.
Yes. So, but that is my career right now.
That's amazing, Uncle.
So, Uncle, you say you're an archaeologist, right? May you explain to us a little bit about archaeology to the audience who doesn't know about archaeology?
Sure. I'm not actually an archaeologist. That is someone who has gone to college or university and they've obtained a degree. I'm more of what we call a field researcher.
Field researcher.
Yes. I actually go into the mountains and the rivers and I look for the old burial grounds and villages and different sites of where my ancestors used to live. And that requires a lot of hiking and climbing and walking through rivers. And so we spend a lot of time outside. We spend a lot of time out in nature. And because of that, it requires you to be in good shape. And but we find these different sites, of which I have over 36.
36 sites?
Different archaeological sites. And once we find these sites, we record them by photographing them, also measuring them. We take a lot of notes. We take a lot of documentation. But the one thing we never do is disturb them.
Disturb them.
We never disturb them. We do not move any rocks. We do not move any soil. Our important mission is to not only discover these sites that have been lost for thousands of years, but after we discover them, we then record and then we work with the people that own the land to have them protected.
Oh, wow.
So once these sites are discovered and we confirm that they are of Native American origin, at that point, it's a long process. It's a lot of documentation, a lot of visiting the sites, a lot of recording, a lot of photographs. But we also share our information with other researchers, with other archaeologists. And they can also include what we learn in their research, and combined we learn more together about our ancestors in America than if it were just me by myself. So we definitely collaborate, we work together.
So what makes you so interested in archaeology to dig enough with this all experience?
Well, to be honest with you, most of my life, I actually did not claim my Native American heritage.
Really?
Because in America, up until about 15, 20 years ago, if you said that you had Native American heritage, you would be discriminated against. People would call you many bad words, and they would treat you very badly.
Have you been through that before?
When I was a child, yes, which is why I no longer told people that I had Native American heritage. So I hide that part of my heritage. But about 9 years ago, a series of events happened that brought my wife and I to a piece of land
Piece of land?
that we were looking to buy. And we were going to build a house. And we ended up going to this land with our real estate agent. And when we arrived at the land, we were greeted by a large bear.
A large bear?
A large bear.
Oh my God. What's your first reaction?
Well, I grew up with bears, so it's not
It's not shocking anymore.
not shocking at all. But when I saw this bear, he was just lying down. Thank you. He was just lying down, and typically when you come across a bear, they either run or they fight.
Oh,
But this bear was just simply staring at us. And this bear was lying down on the
My-
ground. And I thought that it was very strange behavior that this bear was acting this way, because the bear was very close to our car,
very close.
maybe 15, 20 meters.
Oh my God, that's so close, right, Jess?
That's so close.
So we looked at the bear for a little while, and the bear looked at us.
Just a plain look like, oh,
Just looked at each other, and we're taking photographs, and we're all excited to see a bear.
oh.
But after a few minutes, I told my wife and our real estate agent that, well, we should continue on because I don't want to disturb the bear. I don't want to stress the bear. So we continued down the road further, and we looked at the rest of the property. And about 15 minutes go by, and we come back, and the bear is still here.
Oh, it stays?
The bear did not leave, which I was very surprised. But now the bear is standing up, and we are parallel to the bear in the car, but he's still only about 15 meters away.
Oh my God, gila nggak tuh guys? Uncle Matt itu bertemu langsung dengan beruang. Dia nggak kecil, tapi gede. Right, Uncle is big, right? But apa yang unik itu tidak nyerah gitu, kayak saling melihat-lihat gitu ya, Uncle ya.
So we're driving down the road, and the bear is walking next to us. And he walks a little way, and the bear stops at a rock wall. This rock wall here in the bottom photo. Yes,
Oh, this is the first where the bear guide you?
that's where the bear stopped.
Oh, stop.
So the bear stopped, and he simply stared at the rock wall. He just stared at it. And I thought, this is very strange behavior.
Oh, so what you do then?
Well, the bear, after looking at the wall for a few seconds, he looked over at us, and then he looked over at the wall again. And I'm thinking, what is this bear doing? But after a few minutes, the bear finally walks away.
Oh my gosh.
So I didn't understand what was happening. But I knew that maybe this was a good sign.
A good sign.
So when we come home, I spoke to my wife and I said, I think this is a good sign. We should buy this property because of the bear.
Oh, so you had that feeling suddenly?
Yes.
Oh,
So we buy the property. But I also notice, as you see in many of these photos, very strange looking rocks.
yes.
But I didn't know what they were.
Oh, but you can see the picture of it, like,
I see what they are, but I don't know what they mean. So I called an archaeologist who came out to our land, and he walked the land with us. He's an archaeologist that specializes in Native American history,
whoa.
but I didn't know it was Native American at the time. So after an hour, he says to me, I don't think you understand what you have on this land. And I said, no, sir, I do not. He said, this is an ancient American Indian burial ground.
Oh, a grave?
Many graves.
Many grave. Oh.
And many different things like you see in these photos of different animals in the form of rock art that we call petroglyph and pictograph and outline glyphs.
Like,
So when he explained to me what we just bought, this amazing piece of land that has over 35 burials, as
35.
well as all of this different rock art, at that point I understood that this was not a coincidence, that I was brought there to acknowledge my heritage.
So it was arranged.
It was arranged by the ancestors, and we call it an ancestral awakening.
Whoa.
I was awakening the ancestral side, the Native American side of my heritage. So I began to look around the area more, and I noticed the neighbors' properties also had the same thing.
The same thing like this?
And then I discovered that it was an entire mountain,
Entire
an
mountain.
entire mountain of burial grounds
Oh my.
that stretched over 10 kilometers long.
That's crazy, Uncle. Oh my gosh. So you actually found a treasure.
It is a treasure. So over time, I realized that this ancestral awakening was now a calling from the ancestors to become a researcher. Thank you. And this is how I ended up here today. It all began with the meeting of a bear.
A bear.
A bear we call Bruno.
Oh, you even give it a name.
Yes, we gave it a name. So that's how it all began for me. And ever since then, again, almost 9 years ago, I've dedicated my life to finding more sites like this. It went from 1 site to 36 sites now. And I'm very honored to be able to go into the mountains and find these sites and then help protect them.
So how do you protect all this site? Especially if this were found by the wrong people, they will just immediately crash it, right?
It happens all the time.
All the time.
All the time. There are a lot of bad people that like to destroy these graves because they're looking for artifacts. They're looking for things maybe they can collect or they can sell. They don't care about the ancestors. They only care about themselves. And they will destroy these graves. It's the same everywhere around the world, whether you're in Egypt with the pyramids, you have the tomb raiders and the grave robbers. It's the same everywhere. So to answer your question, how we protect it, after we confirm that these sites are Native American sites, you can have what we call a conservation easement. It's a legal decree that can be put on the deed of the land that states that it can never be developed. And if it can never be developed, that means not only you today, but your children, your grandchildren, or whoever buys the land, they can buy the land, but they can never develop it.
True.
So in this way, it has to be protected. Legally, if they destroy the graves or the rock art that you see there, they can go to jail.
Oh my God.
That is quite a long story and interesting one.
Thank you.
So, Uncle, we have a question. So, as we can see here, is your book. In your name, there's a quotation mark on it. Can you tell us the story behind the quotation mark?
Yes, the quotation name there, Masaw, is how you pronounce it. It is my Native American name. To get a Native American name, an elder has to give it to you. And the elder will ask the ancestors, what name do you feel is fitting for this person. And this Cherokee elder took several weeks, but she would tell me that my name would be Massaw. And all of our names have meanings. So I asked her, well, what does Massaw mean? She said, protector of sacred land.
Whoa.
So that's how I got my Native American name. And I'm very proud of it. It is a big responsibility, because if you're given a name like protector of sacred land, you're obligated to live up to that name. You must fulfill the name's destiny
Until the very end.
until you're no longer here. So I have done my best to bring honor and respect to the ancestors and protect their sacred land.
That's very beautiful, Uncle. Really, it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Also, before you went to mountain, have you ever experienced something that unexpectedly or something that's out of mind?
All the time.
All the time?
Even though most of my life I would not claim my heritage, I would deny or ignore my heritage. So many things happened, so many different times. The first book I wrote, this book here, is mostly about that. It's about the many different experiences where the ancestors were knocking on the door,
Knocking on the door?
trying to get my attention, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't listening. Even though I knew they were knocking on the door, I didn't want to be part of it. But they never gave up.
Oh, so they just keep on pushing it until they get your attention.
They keep sending me experiences. They keep having strange things happen. They were the ones that arranged the visit to the land the day my wife Ingrid and I visited and met Bruno. They arranged that. And it was finally, I was mentally ready. I was mentally mature enough to understand the responsibility that they were asking me, the calling, because it's a lot of work, but no money. I don't get paid to do what I do. An archaeologist gets paid.
Yes, indeed.
They make a salary, and that's good for them. I don't make any money. I do this purely out of love for the ancestors and trying to protect what remains, what is left today.
So when you protect them, they also protect you and your family as well.
I believe so. Yes, I've had several experiences, and I write about them in my books for those who are interested, where in our culture we are very spiritual. We're not religious. We don't have a religion. We have a creator who created us all and the earth, and we have our ancestors.
Yes.
That's it.
And that's it.
That's how simple everything is for us. And because Native Americans are very spiritual people, sometimes bad spirits can also attack you. And on several occasions, I've been attacked physically. By one occasion was in Bali.
In Bali? Could you tell us more about it?
Well, this particular experience was my wife and I and a friend were on the beach, just relaxing, and we saw a bunch of stray dogs
Stray dogs
playing, having a good time on the beach. But one of the dogs, for no reason at all, ran toward me. And we're just sitting on a log, a tree. And this dog comes right up to me, just a few feet away, and he's barking and growling, and he's very, very angry. But we don't understand why. I was just sitting there quietly looking at the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So the dog was, and my wife said, "What did you do?" I said, "I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting here, you know." But for some reason, this dog come running to me and was just like charging at me, bluffing like he was going to bite me.
Mm.
And I was thinking I was going to have to defend myself, you know. But this went on for a few minutes, and it was just very disturbing because for no reason. Nobody bothered this dog, and he was just happy playing with his friends a few minutes earlier. So after a few minutes, this experience, the dog stopped,
Stop.
and he runs back to his friends. And he rejoins them in playing like nothing ever happened.
Wait, so the dog just barked and then left
Yes.
for no reason?
I still don't understand, except when he left, I felt like a dagger in my shoulder. Very painful.
Oh my God.
Very, very painful.
So
Like a sharp pain.
sharp pain.
And I knew right away that this was a spiritual attack. This was also, it happened to be when Balinese were celebrating Nyepi,
Nippy.
when they cast all the evil spirits out into the ocean. Where was I sitting?
Near the
the
ocean. Oh no.
And they found me.
And they noticed you.
And they took over the dog, and the dog came over to me and was acting very mean and very aggressive. But when the dog left, that's when the pain started. And this went on for a couple hours as we walk around the island and we hear the parade and the drums and the horns and all the Balinese people, you know, doing their celebration. And finally, when we come back to the beach, almost the exact same spot where we originally were, at that time, I was still in a lot of pain. But I noticed in the horizon, in our culture, we have what we call a protector spirit.
Protect your spirit.
He's called Elise Deliski.
Deliski?
Elise Deliski.
Deliski.
And Elise Deliski come and protected me from the evil spirit. And the whole time that this was going on, the 2 hours, I kept hearing in my mind, fear me,
Fear me.
fear me,
Oh, so it's intimidate you.
trying to intimidate me. And I knew if I let it, it would probably never leave.
You just got sucked into your body and just poof.
I just have to be strong and fight. And in my mind, I kept saying, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. And then after 2 hours, when Elise Deliski arrived, the evil spirit left. So these are some experiences that I've had and many more as part of our culture being very spiritual. Just remember, just like people that walk around here today, not everyone is a good person. It's the same in the spirit world.
Same.
Not every spirit is a good spirit. And some of them are violent. So it's just part of our culture. And we understand and we accept. And in this case, one of the ancestors did arrive to help me. So as you said, they do protect us.
Well, now talking about spirit, there's a good spirit and bad spirit, right? So when you're in your journey in mountain, how do you know that your who you find is the good ancestor and not the one who's evil, who's trying to what is it called again?
Perfect.
Affect and manipulate you.
You feel it.
Feel?
You feel. Just like, have you ever been around a person you did not feel comfortable around?
Yes.
You had a bad feeling? It's the same thing.
Oh.
So I can sense, and in a lot of cases, a lot of people in our community can actually see spirits in what we call shadow form. So depending on the form they're in, you understand if they're good or bad.
So you also have sixth sense.
Yes.
And do you get attacked often from your entire life?
Only twice.
Only twice.
Physically.
Physically.
Twice.
Twice.
Physically hurt twice.
And what do you do then? Does it also get healed by itself?
Yes, just like if you fall down and scrape your arm, it heals. It heals over time. But the most important thing is when you're in the spiritual world, like our culture is, you can never show fear. You must be strong. You must be a warrior. And you must let the evil spirit know immediately you're not afraid and that you will fight and that this is not acceptable.
But how to control our feeling, to stay calm, to get out fear? Because like sometimes spirit could also, what is it called again? Trying to control mind and affect the feeling of human to be afraid a lot.
You're always going to be afraid. I was a soldier. I was in Afghanistan. I was afraid a lot. If any soldier ever tells you he or she was not afraid, they're lying. What I'm saying is, it's okay to be afraid, but you have to find the strength.
That's right.
You have to find the courage to understand you have to fight back. You cannot allow the evil to win. It's also taught in every religion, good versus evil. So it's not any different.
That is a very interesting story and background you have, Uncle.
Thank you.
So, Uncle, what are the changes and effect you feel after the expedition you have during you write in this book?
After I wrote that book, that was my first book. It was hard. The first book is always the hardest. My wife and my archaeologist friend really, really inspired me to write that book. And now I'm working on my third and fourth book. But the feeling was, I did it. I actually wrote a book.
You finally succeed.
I was very proud of it, and it may not be the most scholarly book or the most grammatically correct book, but my writing style is I don't like to read books where they have a lot of big words that nobody understands. People who do that have an ego problem.
Yeah.
They want the reader to think they're smarter than you. I write on a very elementary style, so everybody can understand. And I like to write in what we call short story form.
Short story form.
A lot of short stories. And I think that the biggest compliment I got about this book, other than the fact that it did take second place in a competition nationally among best new books in the history category. But the highest compliment that I got from many of my readers is, I read it so fast. Well, if you read it so fast, that means you couldn't put it down. That means it was interesting. So that's a high compliment. So it gave me confidence to write the second book, which is more about research, more about archaeology. As is the third book I'm writing. It's about all the different sites I have now. So it's becoming more technical now, more scientific, less about me, less about how I got here, and more about the research, because I want the world to understand how amazing our ancestors were. It doesn't matter if they're from Asia, from Africa, Europe, it doesn't matter. I just want the world to see the amazing things that they created 5,000, 10,000 years ago, like these things you see here on the wall, that are still with us. Because I like to ask my students a question: what can modern man build today that will be here in 10,000 years from now?
Wow. Could you name a book or all of your book on what book are you currently at? Sorry for my English. To the audience, they maybe are interested in you, because especially from your journey here, when you have a lot of experience, especially when you met Bruno, how you got your name, it was pretty amazing, Uncle.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, Bruno is pretty amazing, and just to let you know, I learned later, after I started learning more about the Cherokee heritage, that in the Cherokee culture, the bear is used by the ancestors as a messenger.
As a messenger.
The ancestors will become the bear, and they will greet you. And then they will determine whether or not you're worthy to be on sacred ground.
Whoa.
If you think about what I just described, we were greeted by a bear, and he stared at us. He was determining whether or not we were worthy to be on sacred ground. So that bear was doing exactly what the Cherokee culture says that the bear will do as a messenger. But the other steps in all of this requires just so much effort, so much work. Sometimes we have to hike miles through mountains. Sometimes we have to walk in rivers that are running very fast. So it all requires a lot of dedication, which is why I've had many college students ask me, can they accompany me? And most young people, and no disrespect, but most young people, they don't want to be uncomfortable ever.
True.
And when you're hiking and it's hot, or you're walking through the river and you're cold, I don't want to hear complaining. And I've had several young people come out with me, and I tell them up front, look, you need to understand, I'm here to work. I'm not here to babysit. Okay? And most of them fail quickly, within an hour or two, because they start complaining, oh, I'm hot, or can we stop now, or no, I don't have time for you. So I'm probably difficult to work with, but at the same time, I have a high standard. And that high standard is to make sure the ancestors are taken care of. And babysitting is not on my list of things to do.
Yeah, it's kind of boring.
Yes.
But has anyone success on the journey with you?
Yes, I did have one college intern. She's becoming an archaeologist, and very nice young lady. And for almost 2 years. She did a great job. Never complained, and even got her knee injured in the river one time. I felt bad because I told her jokingly, I said, I broke your body, but,
Oh my God.
and she's healed fine. But yes, I've just one person so far, and she did a good job, and she will graduate college soon and
Ooh.
hopefully become an archaeologist.
Hopefully,
Hopefully,
she
Yeah.
will
hopefully.
succeed.
Yeah.
So, Uncle, very interesting that earlier you said that the bear will determine that if you're worthy or not.
Yes.
But what if you're not worthy to be a protector? What happened?
That's a good question. If you're not worthy, then you would not be allowed to buy that land. Something would stop you. I don't know what, but something would prevent you. And we know that the previous owner, and this is very sad, the previous owner was a young man. He was a construction developer. And he was going to divide it into smaller lots. And he put in what we call a perk test to test the water level in the ground. And according to his friend and real estate agent, it was just a few weeks later, he died in a plane accident. See, he was going to destroy all of this to build houses. So that answers your question.
That is quite sad, but
It is sad. And I feel bad for the family. And I don't even know if he knew what was there. To him, it might have just been a bunch of rocks. But it doesn't matter because Elise Deliski protected the land. And when my wife and I arrived, he had to determine were we worthy, which we hope we are.
I see.
Well, thankfully, you are being chosen by the ancestor as the protector of the
Yes.
land.
We've certainly tried, yes. We've managed to help other people protect over 1,000 acres of land in the United States that has burial grounds and ceremonial grounds, some of them over 10, 12,000 years old. So we're very proud of that.
That's amazing. Let's give it a clap. Okay, then, from your journey and experience, what did you learn from them?
I'm learning every day. Every day, I'm learning that I have a lot. I have a long way to go. I have a lot of room to grow, and I'm learning that I'm on. In our culture, we like to say your life has a path. You have a path. Everyone has a path. I feel I'm on the right path. There were many times in my life that I feel I was on the wrong path, going in the wrong direction. But I feel at ease now. I feel comfortable now. I feel I'm doing what I should be doing. Everybody is, and you will learn as you become adults, everyone feels they have a purpose. Some people, their career defines them. Everything about them is only their career. And I was that way. I was that way too. And sometimes I still find myself thinking that way. But when I stop and think about the experience, the saying is the journey is the most important thing, not the destination. Okay? So I'm still on that journey. I'm still on that path, but I feel I'm on the right direction now. And I'm very, very grateful. Of all the people the ancestors chose, I'm just a simple man. I'm not a wealthy man. I'm not a famous man. I'm not even a super smart man. But they chose me for some reason, and I don't know why, but I'm honored that they did.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
That is.
I'm
That's
on
quite
tears.
So, Uncle, this is the last question of this podcast, but so we can be free and you don't get too many sweats anymore.
No, no, I'm fine. I'm fine, but yeah, no problem.
So, what is your advice for us, the youngsters, and the people who's watching this video from home?
Well, I strongly encourage everyone to learn about your past. And when I mean about your past, I don't mean your life. Everybody has ancestors. And as we spoke before, I told you that in order for you to be sitting here today, it took 4,091 ancestors to live, survive, and procreate for you to be standing here today, sitting here today. 4,091 people had to live through much harder times in much harsher conditions over many thousands of years for you to be sitting here today. They deserve your respect and your protection. So my advice is that you learn who your ancestors are. Where did they come from? Doing a DNA test is a good start. Now, I will caution you, the first results you get, you will be excited. I'm from this country or that country or these countries. I'm this percent or that, and it's fun and it's exciting. But please understand, once your DNA is taken and they match it through the computers, over the next few years, it's going to match with other people. And it's going to change the results.
Really?
Not drastically.
No drastic.
Not drastically, but I just caution you and your viewers to understand the first results you get, it's going to be roundabout correct, but you will get emails that update you and say, well, maybe you were this percentage from Cambodia. Well, maybe it was 50%. Well, now maybe it's 20%. So it becomes more accurate over time. So a DNA test is a good way to start. Secondly, if you have any family oral history, especially from your Oma and Opas, they are your greatest source of knowledge. They will tell you about where your family lived and where they came from. So knowing where you came from and the people that helped make you here today will make you a more complete person. It'll make you a more rounded person. You'll understand yourself better. You'll understand why you do things a certain way, why you think a certain way, why you look a certain way. And like for myself, being both European and Native American, I don't have a straight Caucasian look. I have a hybrid look, yes, between the two. And everybody does. Please understand that everybody is from somewhere else. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Nobody is from only here. Everybody came from somewhere else in the world. Everybody is immigrated at some point. So there are no exceptions. Knowing where that started, it's a fun process.
Wow.
Thank you for your advice, Uncle. And
Welcome.
remember that, everybody. And maybe you could tell us what you learned from Uncle on the comment down below. That's really amazing. Oh yeah, by the way, Uncle, before we end our podcast, we also would like to give you a little appreciation.
Oh, that's very kind
for
of you.
podcast. Here we go.
Oh, thank you. That's beautiful.
We hope you like it.
Oh, I do.
And we hope that this will bring your memory when you first time in Batam and when you have
Podcast with us.
yes.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much to both of you. I will proudly hang this in my house on the wall, and I will put it near my library.
Thank you very
So
much.
I'm very honored to receive this. And thank you very much for asking me, ladies. I'm honored to be here and appreciate both of you.
We also appreciate you.
We
so much.
appreciate that you have time to give us
Sure.
to podcast with you.
Oh, I'm happy to do so. I had a good time.
Maybe next time you should go visit Batam even apa namanya?
Even more.
Even more.
Yes.
Shall we?
I would love to. We'd love to come back and see more of Batam.
And there's a lot of places that you need to see. There's so much fun.
I saw the Ferris wheel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you tried them?
Not yet. Oh, in America, yes.
Oh, in America.
Yeah, but yes, that would be fun. But thank you again for the invitation.
Okay.
So this is the end of our podcast. Thanks again for Uncle Matthew for your time and being podcasting with us today.
And also we would like to thank you for our audience who are staying here until now, watching and learning from Uncle Matt especially. We hope that this podcast will bring you many, what is it called again, Jess? Memory and pelajaran. Apa sih namanya?
Lessons.
Yeah, lessons. Wait, I forgot our audience also Indonesia. Okay, so
So I'm Jocelyn.
and I'm Ali.
See you in the next podcast.
Bye bye.